Hi, everybody. I'm Matt.
And I'm Dean.
Welcome to another episode of the Real DMV, your backstage pass to all things film related in the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area.
Matt, you were describing backstage a conundrum that you had. You had auditioned for a particular commercial, and you did one take, and it seemed like the director was very happy with this. And then there was a series of emails back and forth, and I think there was the request of another take or two. Can you describe a little bit for the audience, just kind of what you're going through with this particular process, just in case they haven't been through it themselves?
Yeah, I mean, first, I don't know what a conundrum is, but I'll look that up later. I'm just kidding with you.
It's a $25
yeah,
word.
no, it's an interesting question. For me at least. So this is one of those scenarios where it's for a commercial in Chicago. I did an audition for it, and I got some positive feedback from the director saying, hey, we really like that take. And it was a personalized note on backstage. And he came back and he said, hey, I really like that take. Are you free for those days? So I took that as, hey, I'm being kind of shortlisted. Then he came back a couple of days later with kind of a broader message to probably the candidates that are in the running, saying, hey, I've gotten a lot of questions, and here's some more guidance around and direction around what we're looking for, and we want to see some different takes. We want to see a subdued one, we want to see a heightened one, we want to see, and then your version of what you think this is about. And so I said, fine. I did another self tape, and with a very kind of different take on the spin on it. I fired that off, and then today we get a third request with a new script. And another type of take he wants. And so then the question becomes, hey, Matt, are you being lazy? Should you just do it? Or are you confident in the takes you've done and let them ride? And how much is too much? And how many times should they keep, how much effort do you put into something like this? Now, it seems like a pretty nationwide commercial, and it's interesting. But again, is it, and this is a question for the audience, do you or don't you? Like, should I do another one? Or are these folks, do they not have their act together, so to speak?
Yeah, this is
or is this a natural thing? And are they trying to wear people down? Maybe that's probably the wrong term. Are they trying to narrow down the field to see who sticks around?
who really wants it.
Right.
Who really wants the kind of thing. And this is a bit different, we were talking earlier, than a process that recently I went through where you audition with the casting director, they like you, they bring you back, you have a callback, and then they like you for that, and then they have you a third time for a chemistry read. All of those things are purposeful, but we aren't able to actually ask who you're speaking with exactly what, the purpose for doing these things. They're coming back with different directions each time, right. Even though they were happy with the first take. Now we're addressing everybody again, and it's almost like we're starting over 2 more times.
Yeah.
So it's the do you or don't you? And that's a rhetorical question, like you said, for the audience. And if you have any answers, feel free to put them in the comments below, because this is a kind of a teachable moment here.
No, absolutely. Now, look, I'm super excited about today's guest.
Oh, yeah.
I can't tell you. So today's guest, born in D.C., raised in Gaithersburg, Maryland. So a true DMV native.
Yep.
The kind of guest we want to have on the show. Full-time acting and modeling since 2016, and you can correct me, guest, whenever it comes time to reveal your identity. She has done just a laundry list of commercials for major outfits. We're talking AMC, Hilton, Papa John's, Toyota, Canon, Under Armour, Samsung, Amtrak, Volkswagen, and my favorite, Devil's Backbone, which is one of my a Vienna lager beer, native to the area. So, and that's just a short list. I mean, I took some select items out of this.
Underachiever.
Yeah, and she was also in The First Lady.
Yeah, I want to ask about that.
We've got some interesting factoids about this guest that she's going to talk about that I think you'll find fascinating.
It demystifies something.
Yes, that's the best way to put it. So, without further ado, we have the great Lindsey Weller.
All right.
Hello, everybody.
Lindsey, here we go.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Our studio audience is very excited. I don't know if you could hear that in the
I love it.
headphones. Yeah, it's perfect.
It's so surprising. An actor loves the sound of applause. Shocking. Shocking.
Well, thanks
Fake
for
or
being
real,
here.
I'll take it.
Hopefully, we did you honor with that introduction. I probably just scratched the surface.
There's
of
a lot
things
to
you've
there's a
done.
lot to
No,
mention.
you
with
did. That was great. And 2016 is correct.
Okay.
That's right. You got it right.
Oh, if it wasn't correct, I mean, then you wrote the wrong thing on your. intake
That's right.
form,
I know. See, yeah.
It's on you. And go.
I was an English major as well, so I'm so detail oriented and very focused on making sure everything's correct. So I would have been really upset if I had made that mistake.
So it's all good. So we like to start out sometimes with a little game, and I think Dean, you always do what two lies and
I
a
do
truth.
2 lies and a truth.
Yeah, but I always mess it up, and I do 2.
2 truths and a lie.
Okay, so guess which one is not true.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
okay.
2 truths and a lie. So the first is you're a connoisseur of chocolate. The second is you are a Division I hockey player in college, field hockey player. And the third is you're a Victoria's Secret model, all of which could probably be true. Which one is not?
Oh, am I guessing?
You're guessing.
I'm guessing.
You're telling us.
Yes. So let's see. The third one is the lie.
Got it. Victoria's Secret model.
Yes, not a Victoria's Secret
I
model.
got it
That
wrong.
one.
I did it wrong.
That's nice of you. That one was a reach, but I appreciate that was considered. Thank you for
In my
that.
defense, I didn't know there was going to be a test. I didn't study. I wasn't prepared.
I didn't either. I had to think back and be like, was I? No,
Did
no.
Did I do that?
Did I?
At least once.
So you started in I want to say January 2016 is what you stated.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
And how was it, modeling at first or acting at first, and what got you started?
So it's funny because I did theater when I was a kid. So I was somehow interested in being on stage in front of people performing. I did community theater, and then I was in all the plays in middle school, and then field hockey took over in high school, and I didn't have time for everything. So I sort of left that. I just didn't really think about it. And talk about being in the DMV. It's not really an area where people push you towards the arts. So you're not really seeing a whole lot of people in adulthood around you that are doing that. So it didn't even occur to me really. And so I then just went about things. College, I played field hockey in college. I was an English and psychology major. I thought I'd go into journalism. So I started working at Fox 5, the local Fox station here in DC, working crazy hours behind the scenes as a production assistant. And there was a videographer there who was one of my editors and videographers that I worked with because I was kind of part of the production company for the news cycle. So I would be the hub. The writers would send me the stories. I would source the videotapes. I would send it to the editors and say, clip here, put here, and then I would get it ready for air. So one of the videographers there was starting his own photography business and approached me and said, I'm trying to build my portfolio. I feel like, you have a great look. Would you want to try being on camera? And I was like, well, I've never modeled before. So, I mean, I don't know how productive this is going to be for you. I don't know if you're going to get what you need. I said, but I'll give it a shot. And it's funny looking back at those because it's definitely, I mean, you can tell I was fresh, right? I mean, you can absolutely tell, but I had a blast.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where I did it.
Print modeling or is
Print,
it? Okay,
print,
so
yes,
okay, got it.
print. And so but I didn't really think much of it. I was like, oh, that was fun.
Yeah,
Like,
but you
that was
glossed over
nice.
some stuff. You're like, oh, I got my degree in psych. No, you have your master's degree in psychology from American University.
I do.
You're a Division I at what, Bucknell?
Bucknell,
I mean,
yes.
come on. This is like, oh, yeah, this guy's a psychology degree.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
no.
Well,
You're
that's-
cerebral. You're artistic. You've done a wide range. Of
Yes,
stuff.
we can definitely highlight those
I will
those things
extol
a little
your
more.
virtues. If
Yes.
you're not,
This is I tend to be a bit wordy, so feel free, let me know if I'm going on and on. But that's really how I got my start. That's the long answer about how I got my start.
Okay.
And he told me I should pursue it. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. And I was like, that's nice. But I didn't know. I was 21, 22 at the time. And so I never really thought about it. And I just sort of carried on. I was like, oh, that was kind of fun. I did it here and there as opportunities came up. And in the meantime, I was going back to graduate school. and for my master's in psychology, and that was what I thought I was going to do. And I just didn't have the energy to go for my PhD. I was exhausted.
It's a lot.
I was
I get it.
exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
You've
totally
got your-
burnt out.
You got your what? Not JD, but master's in.
JM, because
JM, yeah.
I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't finish it. So anyway,
Yeah.
No,
not
exactly.
about me, but I kind of want to go back to this
Sure.
because I want to create this scenario. You've never modeled before.
Yes.
There's a guy that comes up to you at 21 years old and says, "I would love to take pictures of you."
Yes.
I mean,
So
was it like a Kodak, like one of the recyclable Kodak?
no, the thing about being good
Were
at
you-
psychology also is that you have a certain ability, or you hope you do. And again, I am not 100% with this. I have certainly misread people, but I tend to be fairly good at sort of reading people and judging character and sort of just going with vibes. And I've gotten much better over the year about going with my gut. I can't say that in times past I haven't done things just to be nice or to just, like appease somebody, or, even if I felt a little awkward about it, just it was always putting other people first kind of. And I've gotten much better about putting myself first. But
Good.
you are right, especially when, most people in this industry start when they're younger. So we'll take it to young women for sure. But I mean, things can happen to men too, but most of the time they happen to young women. So when you're that young and you don't have the life experience, you're right. I'm glad to point that out, because you really do have to be careful. I mean, so I should say too, I had been working with him for a while. I mean, we had developed a friendship.
Yeah.
This wasn't a random person sending me a message or coming up to, I mean, I was in a trusted environment with a bunch of colleagues that I really trusted, and he was one of them. So that's an important thing to note. This was not.
Yeah, no, I
made it sound. Yes, you're
I wasn't
right.
making it an indictment on him or that situation. I just it was a quick mention, and I went, oh.
I think it's a great thing to highlight, because it's yes.
People will. I mean, that can happen in this industry sometimes. Somebody will come in and say, "Oh, you have a great look. You
that's
should
like the
come and take
classic.
pictures."
Have you had
Right.
that? Have you had that happen? Have you gotten into the weird, like, this is not what I thought it was going to be?
Yes,
Scenario.
I've had a couple. I've been very lucky, and I mean, I don't know if it's luck or it's just being aware, and hyper aware, and certain things just aren't worth it. So if you are uncomfortable or feel unsafe, or just your spidey senses are going even just a little bit, sometimes it's just not worth it.
Yeah,
Like
trust your
why?
gut.
Yeah, why even test that? I have had a couple scenarios that were disappointing, and probably had the potential to not end well. But luckily they ended fine. But you look back at things and you're like, yeah, I would do that totally differently. I always try to, from deciding whether to work with someone, and this is mostly from a modeling standpoint, because typically, as you guys know, when you're on a commercial set or something, I mean, there's so many people that you're usually not alone with anybody. I mean, it's a much safer, there's a lot more safeguards than if you are one-on-one with
Going
a
to a
photographer
studio,
somewhere. Right.
Yeah.
And so, I always do my best. I will try to have a face-to-face meeting with somebody, even if it's over Zoom. Like if I don't know them, I will try to meet them in person or talk with them over Zoom. And that's really, I think, what you have to do to gauge if you're going to be comfortable.
We did that.
Yes, we did that.
Because you're like, this guy is creepy. I gotta find out.
Yeah,
And then you're like, he's still creepy.
See, but
yeah,
you know
if
what?
You read the room, dude. You're
I know,
it's still-
right?
it's still pretty-
I know.
Just blink twice if you're in trouble.
See, but now don't you feel better, because that's just part of my process.
Absolutely.
See?
I do.
So,
I got vetted.
yes,
properly.
that's right.
Yep,
That's right.
So, yeah, well,
Smart about it.
that was good. Did you have a question, Dean? Sorry.
No, I just didn't want to dominate the conversation with
like you have been?
yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, I'm
terrible.
going to turn my mic
No,
off.
I mean, it's interesting because you've done what I would consider it all. You've done modeling, you've done commercial acting work for heavy hitters, you've done feature film, you've done probably shorts, and even, you even did I would call it your directorial debut of Water,
Yes.
and that was your own personal pet project.
That was
pet
my
project,
own
passion,
yes.
passion piece, I should
Yes,
say.
that's okay. Either way is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one was, I've done a little bit of everything. TV and film is still very much in the theatrical acting, I should say. Feature films and films in general, TV acting outside of commercials, still very much a work in progress for me. That's actually a big goal I have for the year.
Getting back into TV and film.
So, it's just, that's one thing specific to this area. There are those opportunities, but I think the commercial aspect of it is much more. If you're really trying to make it a full-time job, then you have to kind of go the commercial route in order to actually, I think, make enough funds. Because there just aren't, I think, enough feature film opportunities where people are paying enough for the time that you have to take to film it around here. So I think other areas. So what I really want to do is hopefully get representation in some of the bigger markets, LA, and actually have somebody who's dedicated to acting.
Okay.
Because I don't have that yet.
Well, that's an interesting point. Like the payouts for commercials, they can be great, right? Or you could get a one-time payout, or you can get residuals, right? So
Yes.
did you ever find yourself in regrettable contractual things after the fact because you didn't have proper like going back? You're like, oh, I did this thing for let's just say Toyota,
Sure.
and I wish I had known X before I'd signed this.
I think I've had pretty good judgment with that, and I've had great people around me helping me guide. And it is tough decisions that you have to make. You have to figure out what's worth it, and if you're not getting paid what you'd like to get paid, are you getting something else out of it that's going to be beneficial? Is that footage going to help get you some other role that is going to pay you a bunch or get you that next step that you want to get to? Get you that agent, that acting agent. They're going to be impressed by that role, and so they'll want to sign you. So all these things you have to take into account, and it's different for everybody. I mean, it just depends where you want to go with it and what you're using it for. So because my goal is to make it my full-time income, and that's what I've been working at for 10 years now. Frightening, scary. But that's, I kind of look at it through a different lens than if somebody who has a full-time job who's coming at it. I would imagine that they sort of have a different perspective or different standards or different requirements than I might have.
But that's an important point. This is your full-time thing. You're doing that, but you're doing a lot of other stuff too. and so you have found another platform to share your work on.
That is right.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure, that would be great. I am hoping to help, as I think Dean said, we were chatting a little bit before, demystify. I like that word. Demystify and hopefully make people less afraid, because I don't think they have to be afraid of this platform, and the platform is OnlyFans. And as I think if people go look at my work, one of the main things that I love to do and have done a lot of over the years is boudoir modeling. Mm-hmm. And I have always found it super empowering, super freeing. It's a wonderful outlet, and it's a wonderful way, I think, for women to show that you can be both. It's unbelievable that it's almost like society still, we're making progress, but society still views women as sort of, well, we're sexualized all the time, but then at the same time we're vilified for it. So we're sexualized by everybody, but then we're also punished if we want to be professional, right? Then we can't be a sexual being.
If you do, damned if you
yes,
don't.
we can't be a sexual being, but that makes us unprofessional or a reflection on our character somehow. And so, I say all this now, but I'll be truthful, when I started OnlyFans, it was from a money perspective. It was trying to find some control in an industry that doesn't offer a whole lot of control. There are certain things you can control, and there's so much that you can't. And honestly, most of it you can't. Right. And so I was like, I was doing this work already, boudoir modeling with some amazing photographers, and I had all this amazing work. And it was a great way to explore myself and just radiate things on camera that weren't being captured otherwise. And so I had all this work just sitting there, and I was like, why not share this with people? And unfortunately, platforms unfortunately, it's fine to have rules. So Instagram obviously has rules and everything. I don't think they're enforced properly, but that's a whole separate discussion. But I wasn't able to share what I wanted to share there. And so it took me a long time to get up the guts, but I started an OnlyFans.
Well, again, you want to demystify and destigmatize the platform.
Right.
Because, in most people, when they hear OnlyFans, the first thing that pops in their head is porn.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
That's the go-to.
Mm-hmm.
But the platform didn't start out as that.
No.
It migrated to that, and you're taking it to a slightly different place, I would say.
Yes.
And you put up guardrails for yourself that are self-imposed.
Yes.
To shape the outcome of what you're trying to get for your career.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, yeah, OnlyFans just started as another platform, and basically for artists to have a way for users and fans to subscribe to their content so they could monetize things. Another way to make money on things that they were already doing, or things they wanted to teach people, or people just really like their work and they want to follow it. So that's how it started. So it can be anything, and I think a lot of people on there are not doing porn, but it was noted for that and now known for that because it's pretty much one of the only platforms that allows people to post explicit content. But that doesn't mean that all the content on there is explicit. And I think that's what gets lost. Now, I say that, but I also want to say, it's important for me to say that I don't judge what others choose to put up there. So I don't believe that it's my place, as long as nobody's getting hurt, nobody's being taken advantage of, everybody's participating is consensual and everything. I don't have a right to say that person shouldn't be doing that. It's my choice whether I'm consuming that or not. So I think it's actually a great platform for that if you do want to do that, because the creator has all the control. The creator gets to control everything. And that's the best part, especially for women, because God knows the porn industry is full of women being taken advantage of. And this is quite the opposite, which is really great.
Do you feel, because you started out very, traditional is the wrong word, but has it impacted you in a positive way? Okay.
It really has, personally and professionally, I think. So I already had a lot of people following my work on Instagram, which was so amazing. I'm so grateful for that. I have so many supporters who are the nicest humans alive and have just been with me since the beginning when, I didn't have much work to put out there yet. And so I'm so grateful for them. And that's really who has followed me over to OnlyFans. They're just amazing. So it's been great for what I intended it for, which was monetizing the work that I was already doing. But I found so much more purpose with it that I didn't expect to find. And some of that is, I will say, primarily my subscription base is men. But I really want it to be for women too. And that's a steep hill to climb, I think. But what I really want to get at is that, I want women to feel empowered, right? And I want women to feel like you can be both of these things, and there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with you for indulging in your sexual side, and you can do it in whatever way you want, and nobody really has the right to tell you not to do that. If you're doing it in a safe way that's not forcing it on anybody, then power to you. Yeah. I think
that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I think it's worth noting too, I think it was around COVID, when the pandemic started, there was an actress from The Sopranos and Sons of Anarchy.
That's
Rhea
right.
De Matteo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And, she had to find a way to in a classy way, if I can say, an artistic way,
yes,
provide for her family and make her mortgage payment because everything was shut down. Actors weren't doing anything.
That's right.
So she was able to make her mortgage back and then some within the first couple weeks.
Oh my gosh, I
something
think
like
a
that.
couple days. I mean, she was.
I figured I was wrong about that.
No,
but
I mean, I would have to go back and look, but it was I remember reading about that, and she said she posted something. She kind of launched it over, in the evening, and then she woke up the next day and it
it
exploded.
had taken off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I think the key is, and I want to say this because I think it's important, kind of going back to safety and things like that, and also safety in your own headspace too. When I'm talking about empowering women and everything and doing something like OnlyFans, I really think it's important before you do that. It took me, like I said, a long time to get up the courage to do it. I was afraid of being judged. I was afraid of, that's it. I was afraid of being judged by clients, by friends and family, by everybody, because of all the assumptions that people make. People just assume they know exactly what you're doing, exactly what it means. They haven't even seen anything. I've had so many conversations with people who give me lectures about it, and I'm like, you haven't even seen my page. You don't even know what I'm doing. You don't even know what you're talking to me about.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. But part of the reason it took me so long is because I wanted to make sure that I had my personal boundaries set and solid before I started this, because it's a slippery slope. So as much as I think it's a wonderful platform, if you go into it willy-nilly, not knowing where you stand and not having thought about how you might talk about this, if you go on a talk show someday, say you make it, and that's kind of how I approached it. Say you make it one day, you go on a talk show, well,
You're here.
Okay. So say you do that. Are you comfortable talking about it? Are you going to be proud of what you're sharing? Are you going to feel happy about it? Are you going to feel like you did it on your own terms? So are you going to feel secure in that decision? And what does that mean for you? So you kind of have to look at it in a bigger picture. And as far as personal boundaries, so I have set boundaries about what I share, what I don't, on my OnlyFans. And so even if people will make requests, and I just say that's not on the table. And so you have to feel really confident and really stick with your guns on that, because people will push. Now, that being said, I think I sort of, my vibe and who I am, and I think I've sort of put it out there that, I do operate a certain way. And so I haven't really, some of the most respectful people I've ever interacted with have actually been on OnlyFans. So that's something else I wanted to say too. But for anyone thinking about it, you just sort of really do have to make sure that you've got all that set beforehand, just for your own mental health, and to make sure that you really are the one in control of it, and you're not letting other people dictate what you do in your comfort levels.
Well, it's interesting because we talked before we started this, like, how are we going to approach the topic? I think we just decided on, let's just be organic and authentic about it and take it where it goes. And I think you described that journey and that decision-making process in a way it is empowering.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I think so. I mean, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall at the tipping point of that decision. Like, you've got all your boundaries set up.
Yes.
What was that final, I'm going to do this, and how long were the butterflies in your stomach when you pushed go on that, opening that account?
Yeah, it was.
And what did you post? Did you start, you already knew what you were going to put up to start your landing page? And
so I started it as a free account because I wanted to sort of, and I was posting work that I had already posted on Instagram. That was kind of my warm up.
Free for subscribers?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes, free. So you can, we don't have to go into the inner workings, but OnlyFans works a few ways. You can run it kind of however you want. And so I decided, in order to sort of try to give people a taste of content and what I was going to be doing, and to try to get people in the door, I was just going to start it as a free account and share work that I had already shared other places, and to sort of warm myself up to and see what it looked like before I really dove in to anything else. And so that was a great way to start. But it was, it's funny. I was I actually messaged. I had several of my friends. I talked to a lot of people about this beforehand, and they were all very encouraging. Some of them are in the creative space, and some of them aren't. I kind of wanted, voices from both sides. And everybody at the end of the day was like, you just have to do it the way you want to do. Like if you want to do this, then go ahead and just as long as you've thought about it, right? As long as you've thought about it, and if you really want to do this, then go ahead, give it a shot. And so I texted one of those people right before I was ready to launch and, open it. And I was like, I'm very nervous. I'm about to hit the publish button. And he was like, do it. You've been talking about this for a long time. Like,
Did you pull the covers over your
just
head afterward? Like,
I mean, it was like I said, I had thought about it. I probably think about things too much sometimes,
No.
but this was one of the
It's a
ones
big
that,
one.
yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one. But it's been great. And I've found so much joy in bringing other people joy. I have such, I talk to, people don't think about this too, but a lot of people are very lonely. And so they don't have a real way to interact with a whole lot of people. And this has been a great way. And I don't know if the people I'm talking about are lonely, but I know I've developed real friendships with a lot of my subscribers. It's not just an exchange of content. We talk daily about what's going on in each other's lives. I get updates. They check in on me, make sure I'm doing okay. I recently went through a really tough personal situation, and I had my OnlyFans people checking in and making sure I was doing okay. So it's much more. It can be much more than people think. You can make it whatever you want, but for me, it's been a real way to find a connection with people that I otherwise wouldn't have, and also to make the female form something that's just appreciated. I've started saying this to people. You can have sex requires nudity, but nudity doesn't mean sex all the time, right? Like you can have nudity.
I tell
That's
that to
like-
Matt
that's
all
like
the time.
that's like in The Big Lebowski when he says, Jackie Treehorn's treating objects like women.
And by the way, we have that with our subscribers too. They check in on us. Shout out to you, Mom.
Well, when you and I had to have our first intimacy partner for the kissing scene that you and I had, that was a tough one for me.
And then I found out that kissing scene was never in the script, and it was really awkward.
It was very. I'd like to,
I
anyway,
kept wanting to
How did
rehearse
it
our
go?
kissing scene.
he's not a good kisser.
Oh,
He's just jealous.
That's his beard, all that stuff. I
It
can't,
is.
can't get
It's a
beyond
little
it.
scruff.
oh yeah.
Anyway,
Beard
back to
burn?
our guest.
You're embarrassing me in front of our guests.
My God.
But you've had the chance to do other, because this is a government centric area, so that's what we mean about the artistic community maybe not being as rich as some other
Sure.
areas. Like, certainly, if you go to Richmond, Richmond's a very artsy
Yes.
place, and there are artsy communities within our area.
Absolutely.
It's just not as pronounced.
100%.
So there are plenty of ways to be artistic in the community, and I know, we segueing OnlyFans to other modeling opportunities because you've had the chance to do that and do on-camera work. I know you recently did. I can't remember where it was, but it was at a school. It was an art school, and either they were drawing you or sculpting you or something.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Is
So
are you okay talking about that?
we can
Because
definitely talk about that.
Oh, I
that
saw
was
that. I know
great.
what you're
talking about.
Yes. That was so, I'm always looking for unique opportunities. This one just kind of fell in my lap, which was really nice. I had a sculptor message me on Instagram, and he is a sculptor. He lives out on the eastern shore of Maryland, and that's what he does full time. He is, he gets commissioned for sculptures for people's homes. He also does, will do community sculptures, maybe for a garden or things like that. And so he was in the process of working on something that was commissioned by one of his clients, and it was going to go either in their house or in their garden down in Florida. And he takes it very seriously, and he really wants to make sure he gets proportions and things correct. So he uses live models when he does sculpture, and he's also a painter. So he has classes and things like that. So this was, I posed for him for that commissioned project. And that was the first time I had done that. So it was really great. It was pretty fun.
freeing and empowering, the same
Exactly.
rush, yeah.
And the other thing that's great about work like that too, and kind of going along with the boudoir work, because for that I was topless for that sculpture session, and so it's as a woman, it's refreshing, and amazing, frankly, to be in a space with a man who is treating you with utmost respect, and you feel entirely safe, and you know, you're not questioning anything. It's not making you feel uncomfortable or like something might happen. And so that's one of the best feelings I think a woman can have, frankly. You know, because basically on a daily basis, we have to be careful with everything, pretty much. And so and again, you know, you really have to vet people, but I've been fortunate enough to find people who make me feel that way. And those are the ones that I do this work with and choose to do this work with. And so, he was one of those people. And he was, I mean, again, we chatted a great deal before I worked with him and everything, but you know, it's an unbelievable feeling. So, you know, I encourage all women, whether you're, you know, a model or not, to do something like that. You don't have to, but I just think it's worth a try. It can be really great.
Now, I respect our audience and Matt, so I leave my shirt on because nobody needs to see this.
It's a lot.
But to segue from that, you were
Yes.
in First Lady.
I was.
Nina May
Yes.
wrote, and Suzanne Neff, Belina. Do these names mean anything to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what was that experience like? Those are a couple of my friends that were in First Lady. And when I saw that you were in that, I definitely wanted to ask you about that experience, because we're transitioning from one type of work where you are, there's an audience for that.
Sure.
But there's a different mentality when it comes to being on camera
Absolutely.
for something like a drama, a film. So can you
100%.
speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, that's part of why I love what I do too, is because I'm able to do all these different things and channel all these different sides of myself and really tap into all these different sides. Again, kind of going back to the whole, you know, you don't have to shove yourself into one box or the other.
Right.
You know, you can explore all those sides, and that should be okay. So First Lady was great. It was, I was only on set for a day, so I can't speak to, you know, the whole process, but my process was,
Well, sure,
was
share.
great.
Yeah, feel free to share what you remember and what you are comfortable sharing.
It was great. I thought it was very efficient, very organized. It was really fun to be on set with so many different people. That was actually one of my first real film experiences. And that was, so it'll always have a little special place in my heart, because that was the first time I really was on a movie set in a speaking role. I had a few lines, which was exciting.
And that was filmed here.
That was filmed here.
In this area.
Yes.
With Corben Bernson was in it. Nancy, is it Safford?
Yes.
Nancy Safford?
Yep. Nancy Safford.
Which
That's right.
probably contributed to your sagginess, if I will. You know,
It's the sags. Yeah.
she's not saggy.
Saggy.
She's unionized.
It's
though.
okay to be saggy.
It's right. It's also true.
It's okay to be saggy.
Dean.
Take it back. Take back the power.
Yeah, it was a great experience. I loved it. You know, that group of people was just great. And I think it turned out really well.
Dispatches from Elsewhere with Jason Segal.
That one was fun.
Two episodes of that?
One episode.
Oh, okay.
One episode, yes. So that was another, I was there for a day, but that was really fun because that was kind of another step up experience in the TV and film world for me, because I got there and I had my own little trailer with my name
That's
on
the real
it.
deal.
Oh, it was very exciting. I mean, it was small, but it was, you know, I had got to like hang out in the trailer and somebody would come get me when they're ready. It was very exciting.
What's that like?
What is that like?
Well, see, I've only had it once, so
I have a Toyota
can't.
Camry that I wait in until they're ready for me. And I
Okay.
receive a text.
Yes. Okay.
Come to set.
Let's be clear. The reason this is so exciting, because it doesn't happen to me very often. So I'm with you guys. It's happened to me one time. That's why it's exciting. Once. Yeah. So it was. I got to meet. That was one of my favorite days, I think, so far, because I got to meet, and everybody was so nice too and down to earth. And I got to meet Jason Segal, who wrote, produced, directed. This was kind of one of his passion projects. So he did everything for that show. It was an AMC show, worth watching. I think it's really interesting. It was only one season. It's a little bit sci-fi. It's a little definitely kind of psychological aspect
2020-ish
to it.
or something?
Yeah, yeah.
Who cast that?
That's a good
Well,
question.
he wrote it though.
He wrote
Oh,
it.
yeah, okay.
He wrote it.
Casting.
It was a casting. I got cast through a casting agency up in Pennsylvania, and I can't remember which one it was.
Was there a self tape involved, or I mean, it's 2020.
I
so
showed
did you
up
go in
in
the
person
room?
to audition.
So that was
Yes.
around the
Yes.
end of the era of
Yep.
showing up.
That's right.
And every once in a while, you still might, but
And you still, I know, not
very
anymore.
rarely,
Yep.
yeah.
So that was that's a good point. That was probably one of the last times I did that. Yeah. So Jason Segal and then Andre 3000 from the Black Eyed Peas.
Mhm.
He was in it as
That's
well. Sally Field was also in it. So I played her daughter-in-law in the episode I was in. I didn't have any lines, but you can see me on camera. It was very exciting. And I got to kind of actually, be in a scene with her, hanging out next to her.
That's
So
an honor.
that was pretty great. So yes, I got to meet all three of them, and that was up in Pennsylvania. I also loved that he was shooting kind of in this area.
Yeah.
I know it's not, DMV, but close enough.
well, it's close. I
Close
mean, people
enough,
don't
easy to
realize
get
how
to.
close, some parts of Pennsylvania and West Virginia and are
exactly,
to the DMV.
exactly.
Well, with the wide range of commercials you've done, what is the farthest you've traveled for something? I mean, you've done Toyota, Papa John's, all these big ones.
Yes. I guess the good news there is that a lot of those filmed around here.
Oh.
So Papa John's was just like right around the corner of Virginia somewhere. That one was really fun.
That's
and
the car scene.
that's the car scene.
Yeah.
It's very short but pretty funny.
Your reel's good.
It's
funny.
They ended up. It's funny because the take they ended up using was the take. When I think this happens a lot. The take that we did just for fun.
Of
Just
course,
to
yeah.
okay,
We're
so
just going to do this. Don't even worry
Don't
about,
yeah.
not word for word, line for line. Just have fun with
that
it.
just have
Yeah.
fun with it, and just so that was it wasn't supposed to be a really big scream, so I don't. So basically the commercial is, it's me and my boyfriend in the car, and we're trying to figure out what we're going to do for dinner. And I told him, whatever you want, you decide. And Alex Ovechkin pops up in the back seat and scares the hell out of both of us. And so we were just supposed to look scared, but they decided, they were like, you know what, just do like a really big, just scream, just like go over the top with it, be like really freaked out. And they were like, we'll just have it just in case. And that's the one they used. And it was really, really fun.
Yeah, pressure's off. We're just gonna. It's like in the music community because I'm an audio engineer too. In the music community, we're not gonna record this one at all. Just rehearse, just play along with the song, and then
Yes.
they hit record when you're not looking, and that's usually the one that they use because there's no pressure.
I know, right? You get out of your head, right? And so that was
Yeah.
really, really fun. But I didn't even answer your question, did I?
Well, no, I've got so many more questions. We're going to have to have you back on. What would I guess as we're coming up on the hour here, what's a lesson learned you would want to share with the audience for someone starting out?
Oh, wow.
Or maybe if not that one, what are the things that now you would say no to?
Both tough questions. I think so. I'll answer the first one because I think it's really important. What would I tell people starting out? I think don't let other people dictate where you go and what you want to do. Because if I had allowed that, then I wouldn't have experienced the OnlyFans experience, which I think is actually making me a better actor, a better human, a better businesswoman. It's this thing that has been surprisingly great in so many ways, and I wouldn't have experienced that had I let people's judgments and opinions and prejudices and all these things dictate that. And that's only one piece of things. I mean, that goes for just acting in general too. I mean, when I went to my parents and I said, and I entered it pretty late too. I mean, I didn't start doing this, going after it full time till I was 29. And so, and I know it's so funny that that's like late. I mean, just late for the entertainment industry, I guess. But, I went to them and I said, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go try and be, model. And, acting was on there too, but modeling was, that's kind of where I was starting. And my parents were like, excuse me? What? And so, if I had let, and they would much prefer me to do something more stable. And I don't know, like this isn't what they would do. And so if I sort of let all of that dictate, if I did things just to make other people happy, maybe that's a good way to say it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. Don't do things just to make other people happy, and don't not do things just to make other people happy.
Yeah, I had that growing up too, where, I wanted to be the professional musician at a time where you probably could. The industry's changed.
Yep.
But when I was telling my parents about that, growing up, all I got was, well, that's nice.
It's my favorite. That's my favorite.
Plan
But what do you really
B.
do?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's my
Everybody
favorite.
wants to do that, but yeah.
Yeah.
But now doing some of the things that you've done, some of the things that I've done, Matt's done, our parents are able to see sometimes now that, and by the way, this is not an indictment of parents either. I have to put that out there.
Yes, no, it's not.
But
Well-intentioned.
people, yes.
Well-intentioned.
Family members and other people that care about you that go, well, that's nice.
It's healthy skepticism.
Yes,
That's right.
It is.
Yes.
It
True.
is.
True.
And then they see some things that you do and they go, oh, okay.
Right.
It's
Well,
viable.
you had a little thing about it. You're like, hey, every time I get that question, I'm like, name an actor that you admire. That's cool. And why do you admire that?
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like-
For
and
people
then-
that think it's
yeah.
weird. It's just weird if, if I was, Lindsey, if I were your friend and I said, it's just weird that you want to be an actor. Maybe I'm not an actor.
Right.
It's just weird that you're an actor. My response to that is, name your favorite actor.
Right.
And if you go and watch
you
one
watch
of their
TV
films,
or
exactly.
films?
Is it weird when you watch them? Because
Yeah.
they're doing exactly what I'm doing.
Right. They were once at their beginning.
Yes,
So it's not, if it's weird for us, it was weird for them.
absolutely.
Right. Exactly.
So, Lindsey, where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram.
Okay.
And-
And give that. And
yes.
we'll put all these links in the.
Yes. Lindsey K. Weller.
Okay.
And then my website, which is also lindseyKweller.com. So I've tried my best to keep it. Odds are if you type in Lindsey K. Weller, you'll find all of the things. IMDb, the same thing there as well. And same thing on OnlyFans too. So
Great.
I would love for people to check that out and sort of, again, demystify. You don't have to be afraid of it. It's not for everybody, but, just don't judge it until you understand it. Try to understand and then develop an opinion.
People often misconstrue things they don't understand.
That's right. And it's okay to be skeptical, like we were talking about, healthy skepticism, that's fine. But yeah, don't, and just because it's something you wouldn't do, don't judge somebody else because it is something that they do.
Well said.
Yes.
We cannot thank you enough for your time.
I'll stop judging you, Matt.
I'm feeling judged constantly by you.
Yeah, Lindsey, thank you so much for doing
Well,
that.
we'll have
helping
to,
demystify.
you do have a psychologist here also, so we'll tackle that next
Yes,
time.
Yeah, there's a lot to
yes.
unpack.
Next time,
I'm
yeah.
going to need some expensive therapy.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Lindsey.
Thank you so much,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
This was
Yeah, this is
fantastic.
great.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Listen, if this helped anybody at all, find us on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, like and subscribe. We're on YouTube and Spotify. Let us know what you think. Let us know in the comments. We'll post all of Lindsey's information in the comments. Just don't hit her up and be disrespectful. But
I'll
we'll see.
take care of that.
You'll take care of it?
Yeah, I have no problem
like
with
it.
that.
I
Yeah,
like
I got it.
But if this helped you at all, like and subscribe, share, and we'll see you soon.